Hello, welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to work out an example using the sum rule of derivatives. The sum rule of the derivatives states that if you take the derivative of function that has multiple terms, then the derivative of this function is going to be the sum of the derivatives of individual terms. So if you're taking the derivative of u plus v, this function has like a term which is u and a v, two terms. When we take the derivative of this function, then we take the derivative of u term separately, plus we take the derivative of v term separately. So this is, for example, right here, you have square root of 3x plus 2 over square root of x. So this function has two terms. So when we take the derivative, we are going to take the derivative of square root of 3x plus derivative of 2 over square root of x. So let's start with this. So let's write it in this notation. So we have d over dx of f of x. So we're taking the derivative of function, and that would be d over dx of square root of 3x plus 2 over square root of x. Okay. Now we are going to go ahead and simplify this. I'm going to write them separately, independent as each term, derivative of each term in summation. So we have this equals to d over dx of square root of 3x plus d over dx of 2 over square root of x. Okay. Now we can go ahead and solve this. So first I'm going to take out, I'm going to separate the terms and these terms into separate square roots. So we have square root of 3 times square root of x. Okay, since we are taking the square root of 3x, which is square root of 3 times x, we can separate the terms under the square root and we can write them separately. So I did write as square root of 3 times square root of x. So we can expand this into this form. Plus we have d over dx of 2 over square root of x. Okay. Now we can pull out the constants from the derivative term and we can write them as a coefficient or multiplied in front, which is the coefficient means. So we're gonna take out square root of 3 from here and 2 from here. So let's take square root of 3 out and then times d over dx of square root of x. And then here I'm going to pull out 2 times d over dx of 1 over square root of x. Okay, now let's go and simplify it further. So let me add a slide. So we have square root of 3 so we have square root of 3 times d over dx of square root of x plus 2 times d over dx of square root of 1 over square root of x. Okay. Now I'm going to change the square root into the exponent form. So square root of 3 d over dx. The reason I'm going to do it because it would make it easier for us to take the derivative. So instead of a square root, I'm going to write it as x to the 1/2 plus 2 over d over dx. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So x to the 1/2 power. Okay, just one more step. Square root of 3 d over dx of x to the 1/2 plus 2 times d over dx. And now this is in the denominator. We can bring it to numerator, like, we can bring it here, multiply with 1. So it would be just 1 times x to the negative 1/2. So the only thing that you have to do when you change the term from a denominator into the numerator, you change the sign of its exponent. and this is one of the properties of the exponent. So we have this one. So 1 times x to the negative 1/2 is just x to the negative 1/2. We can omit this one. So the next step, I'm going to finally take the derivative. So we have square root of 3 times, when you take the derivative of x to the 1/2, you bring this 1/2 exponent to the front as a coefficient, times x to the 1/2 minus 1. You just subtract 1 from the exponent, plus 2 times here x to the negative 1/2, so you're going to bring this negative 1/2 to the front as a multiplier or coefficient, times x to the negative 1/2 and subtract 1 from it. So here we have square root of 3 over 2 x2, when 1/2 minus 1 is going to be negative 1/2, plus 2 times negative 1 over 2 is just, this 2 cancel this 2, so you're just left with negative 1 times, and here x to the negative 1/2 minus 1 is going to be negative 3 over 2. So we can simplify it further. Okay, so we have this thing. I'm going to have to add a new slide then. Don't have enough space there. So we have square root of 3 over 2 x to the negative 1/2, and then we had this is just there's a 1 right here, times negative 1 is just negative 1, so it's negative 1 times x to the negative 3/2. So I'm gonna change the exponents into positive exponents by bringing the terms into denominator. So we have square root of 3 over 2 times this, I'm going to bring it into denominator, so it's going to become x to the 1/2. So when you change from numerator to denominator, we change the sign of the exponent, minus, we have just 1, and then this goes to the denominator, x to the 3/2. Okay, so this would be your final answer. You can bring back the radical sign or the square root sign if you want to. So this would become square root of 3 over 2 times square root of x minus 1 over, this would become, you're taking the square root of x cubed. Okay, so this would be your final answer. Okay, you can leave it in this form or you can bring it in this form. They both are correct.